Hello and welcome to this screencast entitled Hawk Rules for iPads. And thanks for watching. My name is Andy Phillips and I'm the principal of Harvey Swanson Elementary School. We are the lucky recipient of the Whole School Technology Transformation Grant, which is providing us, among other things, one-to-one iPads for our school. Watching this video will entitle your child, should you choose to let him or her take his or her iPad home, starting really soon. There are some other things to do, which are on the website where you found this video. So do those things, and your child can begin to take their iPad home, which is something that we'd love them to do and is really part of the spirit of the grant we're participating in. So today our presentation will cover 21st century learning vision. What is our vision here at Harvey Swanson with this new initiative that we're excited about taking part in? How we got the iPads, how we plan to use iPads at school, how we plan to have students use iPads at home should you choose to have your child take their iPad home. The big question, the one I've been getting asked the most ever since we've announced that we were going to get this grant, is what happens if one breaks.
Hello, this is Mr. Larson, and I wanted to go over our vision statement for the iPads. So since last year, we've come up with a technology vision for our building, and that vision is that Harvey Swanson embraces technology as a way to enhance and transform learning. We strive to help students, staff, and families use technology to engage with information and resources from around the world. We commit to providing students opportunities to create, connect, and explore with technology in safe ways.
Digital citizenship is something we'll cover a little bit later on in our screencast, but basically it just means that you're doing the right things when you're using the device that you're using. It could be your parent's smartphone, it could be an iPad, a computer, a laptop, a Kindle, a PlayStation, all those things. There are rules that you should be following that make you a digital citizen. It also means things as simple as making sure your device is charged. If your device is charged and it's working properly, you can use it. And a good digital citizen can use their device when it's time to use their device. And a 21st century learner is something that really, if you're watching this, you probably are as well as I am. It's someone who uses 21st century technologies to their advantage to answer questions. So often I'll be watching TV at home and maybe I'll Google a player, or I'll Google a player they mentioned on TV to see what happened to that sports figure or whatever. But the answers are right in my pocket and I use those. That makes me a 21st century learner. Students will use them when applicable. So another thing people have been asking me a lot is, how much screen time will my child have? The answer to that is, I don't really know. Just like I don't know exactly how often your child holds a pencil during the day, or I don't know how many minutes they're looking at a chapter book or a textbook or a worksheet each day. The goal and the vision is that students will use them when applicable, and that iPads become just like another school supply, thought of much in the same way as a new textbook that students will have access to on a daily basis. So students will have these at their use whenever the teacher thinks it's an appropriate time to use their device. And the goal is that pretty soon the newness and coolness wears off and kids just grab these things because that's the next tool they're going to be learning with that day. The history of how this came to be is, it started off as a grant from the state of Michigan. It's a pilot program to engage students from all over the state with the best technology available. We're the only school in Oakland County, and there are 14 other schools in the state, ranging from Charlevoix to Battle Creek. The grant started as the Michigan Department of Education's initiative, and the entity that won the competitive grant process was the Genesee Intermediate School District. Their logo was right down there. Then we submitted an application to join this grant, and we were chosen to participate. The goal of the grant is to transform the classrooms in our school into one-to-one learning environments, and there's more to it than just giving each child a device. The goal is making instruction more engaging and interactive to positively affect student learning. Some key components. So besides number 3, which is a device for every student and teacher, number 1 is a very exciting component as well, which is a robust wireless network. And actually, we're going to be pushing iPads out to devices, not by plugging them into a cart or anything like that, but we'll be pushing them through our wireless network, something that we're very excited about for an efficient way to get apps onto devices. Classroom technology is also being upgraded. All classrooms are getting new projectors as well as an Apple TV, so that each teacher and the students in that class can all project to the screen in the classroom. Of course, number three is exciting as well, a device for every student and teacher. Number four, we've been participating in really not so much through the WSTT grant, but more things that we've been doing locally. Starting in the summertime, we held several summer sessions that teachers came to. We did a summertime book study, all optional. Teachers at Harvey Swanson have been really receptive to this new style of learning, which they really have to do themselves because they've never really had this much technology in a classroom besides a computer lab that they went to once a week. Now they'll have it at their disposal every day. Number five will be participating in some studies that will gauge what it really takes to make a school like ours into a one-to-one learning school. Harvey Swanson truly is a perfect place to do this because really our structure is kind of old. It's been everything in its history. And if this is something that they want to study, it's kind of exciting that they'll be doing it here where they can really judge the impact of what it takes to make a school like this into a 21st century learning environment. So how we use iPads at school, teachers have been learning about ways to integrate iPads into instruction, like I talked about on the previous slide. Really, what I'd like when this is all said and done is I'd love to compare an iPad to any assignment that a teacher assigns a student. So picture a worksheet. Um, there are times when a worksheet is the practice that's needed for a student to grasp the content that the teacher that was in the teacher's lesson. But an iPad app or an iPad, something to create with on an iPad, might take the place of a worksheet, and it might not. I'll tell you that in my experiences and my observations of teachers in classrooms, I've seen a lot of math workshop going on. And oftentimes in math workshop, teachers will have a station be an iPad station. And when they can integrate games, including board games and iPad games, flashcard games, as well as worksheets into their instruction, you raise the time on task for students from the end of a worksheet to really there's no end to an app. So I'm really excited about watching kids practice a lot of skills on iPads. It may take the place of a notebook, and it may not. A lot of times, teachers will use apps for creating. Each one will have iMovie and something called Educreations, which we'll get into in just a few moments. That might take the place of a notebook. I know when I was in the classroom, I would often have reluctant writers, kids who just did not want to start writing. They couldn't think of anything to write about. It was a painful process to get them to put pencil to paper. I'm hoping that with iPads, we could have them do something like using a Puppet Pal app to make a storyboard with puppets of something that they had happen to them in their own lives. Well, if the kid can tell a story to an iPad, we can then take that iPad story they recorded and have them put it to paper in a notebook. Maybe used for practice, and it may be used for creating. All of those things are something that we're excited about. For enrichment, we're excited about that as well. Students may finish work early, and the teacher may assign them a research project, or they may assign them to make an educations presentation about how to solve a certain math problem. The possibilities are endless for enriching the learning of students. So a few of the apps that we've already put on the iPad so far for practice. This is a neat one here. The new math program that we have, Bridges, has several apps that we put on the devices, and this is the number rack, which teachers are using in their classrooms. We also have bought a subscription for each student for IXL and RAS Kids, math and reading programs. Teach Me Kindergarten and first grade are big for those levels of teachers. They really like those on our iPads from the last couple of years. And Infused Learning is one of an example of a website that uses iPads or computers or smartphones or whatever as a response system. So teachers can do quizzes and something as simple as a lunch count might be done on Infused Learning as well. Creating an enrichment, something that I'm most excited about. We've already talked about Educreations, which is kind of a junior PowerPoint, but it's a more friendly version of PowerPoint. Students make a screencast. They can also insert pictures and they can annotate using a virtual ink to prove their point, to solve a math problem. Then they can show it to their whole class. iMovie will be on all of our iPads. It was amazing to me last year at a Festival of Technology. I did a presentation 6 times during the day from kindergarten through third grade students about how to use iPad or how to use iMovie on the iPads, and what they came up with was fantastic in just a 35 or 40 minute session. So I'm excited to see what they can do after a year of instruction. Hopscotch is a junior version of a coding app, so students can do some beginning computer programming there. It can get quite complex as well. And really be doing a lot with our cameras on the iPads this year. Students may take pictures of their work, or they may take screenshots of the stuff that they're doing on their iPad, and they may share that with you at home. As far as home goes, teachers will suggest ways that devices could be used at home, such as practicing on IXL or RAS Kids. That would be an example. However, there will never be a time when teachers say, this is a have-to thing with an iPad. All of our iPad homework would be suggestions. It may be an option, but it wouldn't be the only option. You may use any device at home for some of these things. IXL and RAS Kids are great examples. Once you know your child's username and password, you can use them on any device at home. But you may not choose to do that as well. And students will be encouraged to show you how they're using the iPads at school. They may even show you some things you don't know how to do. Of all the things about taking iPads home, that's what I'm most excited about. When students can show you at home what they're doing at school and how they're using iPads. They can also show you what math app they're using so you can see exactly what they're studying in math at that time. Now the big question, what happens if it breaks? If an iPad breaks at school as the result of an accident, it will be replaced at no charge. In other words, if your child drops their iPad and the screen shatters and they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, and it would be just like we would do with a math book here. If something happened to a math book and the child really wasn't at fault, accidents happen, we'd give them a new math book. Same thing with iPads. On the other hand, if an iPad is broken intentionally at school, the student's family will be responsible for repair or replacement costs. We'll talk about that in just a moment here as well. So, in other words, if a child slams their iPad on the ground or sword fights with an iPad and they break it intentionally, the student's family will be responsible for the cost of repair or replacement. If an iPad is broken at home, the student's family will be responsible for repair or replacement cost. We do have optional insurance, which is the next slide. It can be purchased for $30. The insurance is similar to cell phone insurance, and you'll see on the table what I mean by that. So here's the claim table, and this column covers what you would be charged with insurance and without insurance. So for example, if a screen breaks and we figure the cost is less than $100, you would be completely covered. If something happens to the iPad that costs more than $100 with the insurance, you'd be covered for the cost of repairs minus $100. If you choose not to buy the insurance and the screen breaks, you have to pay the full repair or replacement cost. Same thing with lost, destroyed, or stolen iPads.
The iPad Handbook is full of recommendations for how to care for the iPads. So you'll find information about how to clean them, where to store them, how to charge them, being gentle by when plugging them in, things like that. Also check our website frequently. Myself or Andy will post information all about how to take care of the iPads, and tell us about your ideas. One great idea, and what we recommend strongly, is that every student brings a gallon Ziploc bag to put their iPad in at the end of every day.
Digital citizenship. So throughout the year, we'll be talking about digital citizenship with students. Like I said, it could be as simple as volume control and carrying an iPad, something as complex as protecting passwords and appropriate research on the internet. I would encourage you to watch this video, which I have linked to our website. There will be consequences for showing poor digital citizenship, starting with a warning, just like a recess issue, then moving into loss of device for varying periods of time, loss of recess, etc.
Thanks for watching our screencast here. Please make sure to keep up with us at our Harvey Swanson page on the Brandon School District website. Also check out tech@brandon.weebly.com to keep up with our journey and kind of see where we're going and have some ideas. There'll be some links and resources and the after school club schedule as well. There's also some information about the iPad manual and some really helpful links to even just troubleshoot problems with the iPad. Thanks again, and we look forward to learning with technology this year at Harvey Swanson.